Hello and welcome to another update video about Natgas. We are continuing to move sideways here a little bit, but overall the scenario here that we talked about in the previous video is still live and very much active, and overall I think this whole development of the chart has worked out really nicely. We have been expecting lower prices, lower lows. That has happened. We then saw here quite a strong retracement from my reversal area down here in a wave 4. And we are now heading further down in what I believe is a wave 5. And this wave 5 would finish off the higher level wave 2 correction in which we are. If I zoom out a little bit, then you can actually see the overall wave count here. My view is that this here was a 5-wave structure to the upside in a wave 1 that peaked in October 2020, came down in a wave 2 in December 2020. We moved up in a wave 3 in October 21. Came down in a wave 4, December 21, and then moved up in a wave 5. That was in June this year. Made a local high here. And we then came down in a wave A, moved up in an overshooting wave B. This doesn't happen very often, but we've had it recently on quite a few charts actually. Such an overshooting wave B, the characteristic for it is really that we have this very clear 3-wave structure here in a B wave, and we then come down here in this C wave. We already fulfilled basically all the requirements for that, because what you would normally want to see when you have such an overshooting wave B, then you want to come down below the low of the A wave. That is a little, well, that's quite similar to actually what crypto is doing. Obviously on the main channel, More Crypto Online, we've been talking about the current prices for a lot of altcoins already back in January. To be fair, some even came lower than I expected. But nevertheless, it's the same thing. We had on many crypto charts such an overshooting wave B. Not on all of them, but Bitcoin did it, Ethereum did it, ADA did it, for example. And they all made lower lows compared to their wave A low. So it's just something that happened, and it's something to be aware of. But then in a C wave, which is this one here, we normally want to come down below this low of the wave A, in which we did. This is a so-called expanded flat pattern. You can find another pattern, which is the so-called running flat. In a running flat, you also have an overshooting wave B, but the C wave ends higher. It ends above the A wave. But this is actually it normally doesn't appear, this pattern. Yeah, it's a very, very rare. It's one of the rarest patterns in Elliott wave, really. So if we make an overshooting wave B, the expanded flat is the choice, and so far it has worked out nicely. So let's take a look at this lower level wave count here. The view is that we came down in a 5-wave structure here in blue, all the way down to nearly $5 basically, right? To $5, but this only finished off a higher level wave 3, which resulted in a wave 4 to the upside, and now should resolve or should lead to a wave 5 to the downside. I already sketched here in white how this wave pattern could look like. And we can also now calculate a target for the end of this. And we can do that by, first of all, so one way of doing this, let me just see. So one way of doing this would be in that we take the length of the wave 1 here, and we calculate based on that the 2.618 Fibonacci extension. And then we get to something around the $2.48 level. Now it doesn't necessarily need to go down that low. Really, all it needs to do is to go below 497. But of course we want to have some sort of guidance, right? And therefore I'm looking sort of at this region here between, yeah, I would say, you know, at least a 1.618 extension at basically $4 down to 250. So we will be able to determine that a bit further as we get closer. So primary scenario for me is still down. And we can look at that in a little bit more detail if I go onto the 1-hour chart. It would be based on the assumption that we've seen here a wave 1 down and a wave 2 to the upside. However, the sideways action here, which actually appears to be some kind of a triangle, makes it possible that, and you can see how we're getting into this apex, makes it possible that this wave 2 was not finished yet. And by the way, in the last video, I think we were somewhere down here or something, or wherever, and I said that, yeah, the primary expectation is further down, and someone was already commenting, no, it's not correct, we're already going the other way. Now, when I tell you we come down lower, it is all moving in waves. The trend is down. But even in a downtrend, you have impulses, like this one, wave 1, and you have corrections, like wave 2, but it makes basically only a lower high. So, of course, nothing is moving in a straight line, so please always understand that. And also there are, if the trend goes in a certain direction, we expect a certain price target or something, there's usually more than just one way to get there. And also here, I mean, we could say this was a wave 2, but I think this is getting quite unlikely given this strong sideways movement. So actually what I have to expect is that this wave 2 is going to come a little bit higher. But if you see the breakout down straight away, obviously it would lead to a wave 3 straight away down. But if we look at this here, 1, 2, so let's say let's say for everybody who watches this chart and wants to know where do we get to, if we break down straight away from here, this triangle, well, it would actually take us to around 395, to be honest. That would be the ideal target. You can already look at a possible support in the region around 483, 450, and then 395, but 395 would be the ideal target. Now, if we move a bit higher in the wave 2, then you probably have here a wave A. This triangle is a wave B in A, B, C, D, D, E, maybe one more leg down, B, and then you would move up in wave C to finish off a wave 2. And this wave 2 is likely as long as we stay below around the $6.60 level. So there's absolutely no problem with it to go a bit higher, maybe all the way up to 660 to the 78.6% FIB level, and then to come down. It wouldn't change the trend. It is really only if the price breaks above this wave 4 high, which is basically at 692, around about that area, that we have to expect that we are already in a bullish breakout. But the price structure here doesn't really suggest that. So my primary expectation is down, maybe short term a little bit higher in wave 2, all the way up to 660. If we get above, well, let's call it 695, the wave 4 high, then we have to consider with a much higher probability that the breakout is already occurring. And then we could see much higher prices with a price target around the, well, $10 level and possibly even higher. Okay, and that's my update about Natgas. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.